What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So this matter has brought me out of hiding to make sure that I can, number one, make a case for those who want to move from console to PC, and also be able to kind of create a pathway showing the data, showing the different parameters, and ensuring that you have as much information as you possibly need anyways when you want to move your way up to the PC platform. Now, in this bid, I've made a series of videos where I've pointed out that the cost of actually running a console or owning a console is actually more than you will spend getting a PC of either an equivalent standard, one that can compete against the console, beat it in other areas where the console can't even reach, or surpass the console if you choose to do so. Now, in doing this, the math has been, for the most part, one that we have to always cite before we make this video. So I'm going to go ahead and cite that math, formula or whatever it is that I put together just so that you guys have an idea. When I bought my PlayStation 5, I spent $500. Then I spent $60 for an extra controller. I also went ahead and have so far paid for PlayStation Plus at $190 in total since I bought it in 2021 or so. And this has basically been my cost. And then the premium on the cost of games, which is basically how much extra you're paying on games compared to the PlayStation and PC. If you look at the numbers, you're looking at basically around $10 to $15 different, or sometimes even $12 when you compare it. I'll show you a number here that actually puts things into perspective, and so that you guys can basically go ahead and see. I have two keyboards, I just typed on the wrong one, so bear with me. So a game like Horizon Forbidden West, this is a game that's just recently come out and is right now on the PC platform. If you go on CD Keys, you can buy it for $47.69. The PlayStation version of this, so Horizon Forbidden West, at the moment is a little bit more, or in terms of the way the complete edition is actually more. So you'll be paying, say, $50 for this, but the complete edition is actually a little bit more because it has everything on there. So complete edition is $59.99 compared to, say, my phone is ringing, compared to, say, what we have here on the PC version, $47. So it's about $10 to $12, different if you actually pay attention to it. In fact, in order for you guys to basically see, I went ahead and I got myself a copy, and I'm going to show you guys it's downloading right now on this PC, and I'm going to do some metrics. Meanwhile, this is all that, we have to basically go ahead and take a look at, which is pretty much the performance when it comes down to, when it's all said and done. But we're going to be looking at Horizon Zero Dawn. I have a copy of that, and I've had a copy of that for a long time on PC. I like the way the game looks. I like Guerrilla, but it's not a game that really does interest me, so I haven't really played a lot. But this was one of those games that when it came out on PC, it was a little challenging in terms of the graphics and all, and the PC community was actually happy to give the developers the benefit of the doubt. So at 1080p, if I actually say, let's just go for high settings and just kind of call it all good, and maybe turn off VSync and say some other settings, we can get some very good performance that really does give the PlayStation a run for its money. I did auto detect, and it's giving me ultra, basically saying that the game can run ultra, but let's do high for posterity's sake. Let me go ahead and apply the settings, and then let's see what high settings will give me. I need to be able to figure out, let's go ahead and do some display settings as well. Field of view, adaptive FPS limit is unlimited. And this is the menu. VSync is on, so VSync is going to try to limit me to 60 FPS, but when we turn off VSync, then we're in a whole different level, right? So when I go ahead and I start and fire up this game, I'm going to be looking at we're going to be looking at the performance for this PC. Also, by the way, if you want to know, the specs of this particular PC, it's a Ryzen 5 5500, and it's also got a 3060. It's got some interesting mix of SSD and NVMe's, so that we can basically get a hold of just the games and run them at decent speeds. Not trying to break bank. I'm trying to keep you guys within $650. By the way, remember, when we looked at this particular total, we had $910 at our disposal. So now we're running the game. Game is running at over 100 FPS at 1080. It's giving us basically at high settings, and we're able to pretty much leverage some really, really good frame rates here. Without any problems, the game is running fine. This is also, basically with, if you put it in perspective, this has the, added benefit of you being able to do some really cool things that your PlayStation is not able to do. So Horizon Zero Dawn being having been optimized over the years is a game that's running beautifully. I'll do a separate test for Horizon Forbidden West. And another really cool thing too is Horizon Forbidden West, when the developers actually put out the PC requirements on Steam, it actually is in line with this build. This build is just slightly better with the processor kind, but let me go ahead and let's see if we can pull up the build here so that everybody can, see exactly what it is that we're talking about. So Horizon Forbidden West on Horizon Forbidden West Steam. Let's look at the complete edition on Steam, and let's look at the PC requirements. If you go ahead and take a look at it, when it comes to the recommended, you're looking at an Intel Core i5-8600 or Ryzen 5 3600. This PC that I'm using, it has a Ryzen 5 5500, it's 16 gigs of RAM, and then an RTX 3060 or 5700, which are really good, in my opinion anyways, they're really good GPUs, and this has a 3060 to be able to get the job done. When you actually build a PC of this caliber using a 3060 and using a 5500, let's go ahead and look at a 5500. It's about $89. It's out of stock. It will come back in stock. It does that all the time. They just can't stop selling this thing. I don't think AMD is going to at any point in time stop producing this CPU. It is a heavy seller for them. I recently bought one. I think I may have bought one of the last few this batch. And then if you go with, say, the 3060, 12 gigs, which is basically more VRAM in its capabilities. You can get it for about $300. I think I got this particular one. Not like I think, I know I got this particular one inside of this particular build in order for us to be able to stay in that price point, get the VRAM buffer, and be able to make a PC that performs to what the recommended specs of most of the PlayStation Plus games are. Now, you may say, but the GPU or APU, it's not a dedicated GPU in the PlayStation 5, is actually much more in terms of performance than the 3060. Yes, but a dedicated GPU can do a lot of things that your PS5 cannot do, and even a PC overall can do a lot of things your PS5 cannot do or is not allowed to do, like game development, which is something that I do. So in my use case, I already have the upper hand there. Video production, like I'm doing right now, I already have the upper hand here, and a host of other tasks as well. But at the end of the day, because we still have the budget of $910, we can simply just go ahead and up the GPU to basically fry the PlayStation. And I'm going to make sure that I cite this in every video. We can buy a 6800 because our budget at $650 can permit us to add an extra $90 to this particular total. So remember, we're at $650, and that $650 right now is pretty much where we're at. And we're basically able to do exactly what the PlayStation 5 and its developers anyways are recommending that we do. If we decided that we were going to add an extra $90 to this $650, then we're still within the $910 budget, and we're still fine. In fact, just for posterity's sake, the reason I didn't go ahead and buy the 6800 to actually put this build together, it's a 1440p card. And it didn't make any sense because I have a 6800 XT, which is actually a better card than it. And so I was like, well, why would I buy a less version of a card that I already have rather than just go ahead and buy a card that would still keep money in the gamers' pockets? So that made a lot of sense. Hold on, let me put this thing back here so I don't go drop it. It's a really heavy card. It's the MSI version that has like a little bit of overclock capabilities. It's got 16 gigs of VRAM, and it's actually a very good card at 1440. I mean, just like its, lesser counterpart, the 6800, the 6800 XT just comes in with a little bit more in terms of, the way you can boost the, the clock, and having a little bit more in terms of the stream processors in the architecture. It's a very simple, equation to go with, but at the end of the day, you still have the capability to do it without spending $500 on a GPU if you actually want it, or even $400 on a GPU. So when you actually consider all of this and you consider that, okay, performance and all of the others is not going to be a problem. I can hang in on 1080 and I can play over at 100 FPS for an older game if you actually wanted to basically take a look at it that way. Then you're really in a cool, place to be. Now, keep in mind that there might also be, and let's make sure that we cover as many bases as we can. There might also be possibilities when we reach other games in terms of upscaling capabilities. Like now, this is using, an upscale method. You can use DLSS, you can use simple. We could also turn it off. And that's probably going to also limit our FPS. I wanted to make sure that we highlighted that. And we're no longer sitting at, 100 FPS. We're not like 80 FPS or 90 FPS, which is still, in terms of raw performance, actually very good. And notice the PlayStation versions as well, PS5 versions, will also use a lot of, upscaling technologies and upscaling capabilities as well in order for it to be able to give you the solid performance that you're seeing on a PS5. But if the PS5 were to actually go raw in terms of like performance and such, it would probably still sit in a similar place, or maybe even at a, much hamstrung place, because it's an APU, which is very limited. It's like running a laptop. If I ran a laptop 2070 or a laptop 2080, that's probably where we'll be sitting because of heat management and a whole lot of other things. But I don't know if I want to do any laptop stuff just yet. Maybe we'll do that. But again, the way Windows runs and the way other things also run too, this is a very interesting and complex equation. But this video is one of those videos that I've basically purposefully channeled and, directed it for those of you who've been asking the question. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we take some time and look very carefully over a lot of these different parameters and see exactly where you as the PC gamer can come in pending the PlayStation 5 Pro and its release. Because if you think about the way your budget is positioned, you do have a lot of flexibility to be able to take advantage of this and leverage the benefits. We'll make some more comparisons here in a bit. We'll talk about, say, different settings for different video games. I just wanted to go ahead and do Horizon Zero Dawn, just briefly. Forbidden West is downloading in the background. Let me see if I said I was going to show you guys Forbidden West downloading in the background. I need to go ahead and tweak some of my settings here. Okay, so let me go ahead and basically, end this game. And then, do you want to exit? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is my Good Old Games version of the game. And this is actually downloading. So Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition, the one that I just paid $47 for. Paid less for it that I'll do on the PlayStation. I should have waited for Ragnarok, because I ended up not really liking Ragnarok as I did, God of War, the 2018 one. This one, I've put in like 80 hours on this particular title, and looking forward to, maybe even playing some more just to maybe do a completionist run. But I've also beat it on the PlayStation when it came out. It's one of my favorite games. And so this one, we're going to do its own dedicated test, and then we're going to do one for Spider-Man and even Horizon Forbidden West when that comes out. But I hope you guys are starting to see that there is a path forward. I don't want to just basically say stuff. I want to actually have us start looking very carefully at the numbers. So thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. And a lot of my kids are probably, they're sitting in a room, probably just maybe playing or doing something. So you're going to hear some yells of joy. But hey, comes with the territory. Those of you that are parents, you know how it is. We'll talk soon. Peace out.